The bandwidth for this episode of the Power Factor Show is brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network. FirearmsRadio.tv.
Sponsored by Taylor Freelance, Rainier Ballistics, Hodgdon Powders, and JPL Precision.
Hi, welcome to Power Factor. I'm Larry, and this week I've got a carry gun to review for you. But first, I want to talk about something I picked up off the prize table at the Northwest Challenge. That is our USPSA Section Championship. I talked about it several episodes back. Just kind of mentioned our section, our championship series, and talked a little bit about how it worked. So the big match of the year locally in our section is our section championship. We call it the Northwest Challenge. And at the end there, they had a prize table that was fully stocked. Everybody walked away with something. And the prizes were given away at random. I was called about mid-pack or so, and they arranged the prizes from highest value on one end to lowest value on the other end. So when my name was called, walked up to the table. I started on the high end, and kind of see what was left, and most everything was taken except for there was this little brown paper bag, and I kind of like check out what is that, and it was a gift certificate to an optometrist. So I said, this seems weird, but what the heck? I mean, I've been saying to my friends for a couple of years, I could probably shoot better if I could see better. So, as much as I would love to have some more Rainier bullets, but I guess I got enough of those. Let me go for this right here. So it was a pretty decent value that got me eye exam anyway and all that stuff. So I said, what the heck? So took that prize, called him up, made an appointment, went down there to get my eyes checked out, and the result of that is right here, in case you didn't notice. Now I now have corrective lenses for the first time, and been wearing them for 2 or 3 weeks, and finally just getting used to it. So so that's pretty cool. So I don't know. So hey, maybe now I can see well enough to shoot better. Time will tell. So the main topic this week, I want to talk about my carry gun and gear. It's not exactly the focus of our show when we're competition focused, but I have shot my carry gun in IDPA. This is a Glock 19, guns clear, and the first IDPA match I shot, the first couple IDPA matches I shot with this gun. This is actually the first gun that I ever bought, and carried it a whole lot. I mean, over the last 12 years since I've had a carry permit, this has been my carry gun, and it's for me, I mean, it really is perfect for a long time. It's what I would call perfect. I mean, it fits my hand, it's got a good capacity of 15 rounds, yada yada yada. I mean, it's with the polymer frame, everything's lightweight. But I struggled with, after a long time, I mean, and this is just kind of recently, over the last couple of years, I've been kind of struggling with the weight of it, and kind of getting tired of the weight and a little bit tired of the bulk. I've carried it in various holsters. This is a little paddle holster that it's made by ITAC, and I don't even know if they make these anymore. They do make these with a button, a lot like a Blackhawk Serpa holster, but this is the first kind of, not the first, but this is kind of the first good carry holster or comfortable carry holster I got for the thing. Just clips right on, paddle holster, and used it quite a lot. I mean, I picked it up for a little intro to IDPA class I did like 6 years ago. I got it for that reason, just a little $20 deal at a gun shop. And I've carried the gun and various other things, trying to find something comfortable, find something that bridges over the belt loops of my pants. I've got this little leather, Galco leather's nice and comfortable. It's not exactly made for the Glock 19, it's a Glock 26 holster, but it works pretty good. And got this K-Rounds holster as well. They're OWB Pancake. And I rotate through different holsters because this one pokes here and that one pinches over there, and it's kind of like a couple days of this, couple days of that. You don't want to get poked in the same place every time, all the time. And so for a long time, like I said, maybe a couple of years, I've been wanting something different, something a little bit lightweight, lighter weight, and a little bit thinner. And finally decided to get myself a Smith Wesson M&P Shield. Gun's clear. No magazine, as we show. So yeah, I finally got myself a Smith Wesson M&P Shield, and we're going to do a little bit of a detailed review of it. So first I'll just kind of tell my story, I guess. When these first came out, I mean, they were hot ticket, right? When they first hit about 2 years ago on the market, I said, man, I want to go check out that gun. So I went to a local gun shop and pulled out the slim single stack 9mm, you know, M&P Shield, and said, man, it just fits my hand real well. It feels really good. It feels really good in the hand. And I had the guys pull everything they had out of the case that was kind of in this category, the small, thin, single stack polymer frame pistols. I mean, there was, you know, let's see, and mostly 9mm, but maybe there was some 380s in the mix too. I just kind of wanted to see how they all felt in my hand. Things like, I think there was a Diamondback, there was some Kel-Tecs, there was Ruger, probably like an LC9, I would say. The Kel-Tec PF9 maybe, or LC9, I don't know, whatever it's called, PF9. Yeah, I think there was a Diamondback and a Rohrbach or something or other, and there was just so many. I just tried everything, including the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard in 380, and they all, and also the Nano, the Beretta Nano. I looked at everything they had in that category of slim, lightweight 9mm, and none of them felt as good in my hand as this one does. So I've been wanting one for a long time. And one thing that really kind of turned me off was that it had the thumb safety. Well, as many of you know, they recently released this pistol without the thumb safety, and that's what I got. There you go. So now it's more Glock-like, and I've heard a lot of people that say, oh, it doesn't bother me, I just don't use it. And then, you know, you see some videos of people evaluating the gun and shooting the gun, saying, oh, it's no problem, I just don't use it. And then they go to shoot the gun. I go, what the heck? Oh man, the thumb safety's on. Yeah, exactly. That's if you have a manual safety on your gun, you really need to use it, and so that you're always training to use it and to disengage it when you draw the gun, because if you assume that it's going to be disengaged and it's not, bad things could happen. So that was kind of the one thing that really held me back for a long time on getting the Shield, was the thumb safety. So I'm happy that they listened to the customers, listened to everybody, and said, hey, this is a great gun, we just want it without the thumb safety, and finally released one. So let's go to the bench and kind of do a little detailed review of the Smith & Wesson Shield. Okay, so here we are, we're looking at the M&P Shield. I know there's I don't know, 1,000 reviews on YouTube, but this is our version of it. So let's kind of go through the gun. So like we said, first of all, biggest feature for me, no thumb safety. Right here is where the thumb safety would normally be, and it was I kind of don't really remember. I think it was easy enough to flick it off, but really hard to engage it. But like I said, it could accidentally become engaged. You have a slide lock lever right here, and this is your takedown lever. We'll show you how that works in a moment. The Smith & Wesson Shield is too small to have any kind of removable or interchangeable grip panels, so this is all just one polymer grip, which is totally fine with me. It fits my hand well enough. The magazine release button is not reversible, which again, to me, at this angle, it's kind of hard for, you know, it's not my usual angle for my wrist, but it's fine. It feels fine. I can eject the mags just fine. No problems there. Let's take a look at the other side of it here. Got a big external ejector. Of course, big old caution, capable of firing with the magazine removed, so no magazine disconnect safety. And we have the hinged trigger, which is how the M&Ps work. It's essentially the same as a Glock, which that's your primary safety. If this is not disengaged, nothing else inside here can happen. So this has to be disengaged first. you know, if the trigger's pulled from up here, which means, let's say if you drop the gun and your finger's not on the lever, then even the inertia of the trigger, if it had enough weight to have any inertia, it could not pull itself. This safety lever back up here, you know, a little pointer out here, the safety lever right here bonks up against the frame, just like a Glock, except that it's a fully hinged trigger instead of just having the hinged blade insert in the trigger like the Glock does. We have 3-dot not night sights, just 3-dot white dot sights, which you know, I mean, a lot of people say they're not a fan of. I would say I'm not a fan of the 3-dot sights, but honestly, I've been saying that for a long time and haven't used them in a long time. Sure, they're not great for speed shooting or anything, but that's not what this is for. And honestly, they don't bother me, and I'm really not planning on changing them out. So they are metal sights, so that's nice. You know, they're good quality, good build quality, 3-dot white dot sights. There is no tactile loaded chamber indicator. Again, you know, a lot of you M&P fans are probably well aware of this. This is kind of new territory for me, the M&P line. Can't say I've definitely never owned one, and I'm trying to think if I've ever even shot one before I own this. I'm not sure that I have. But your loaded chamber indicator is simply this viewing window right here, which is this little half moon shape cut out of the barrel, the corresponding half moon shape cut into the around the breech face, so you can look down in there and see the brass. And if you're in a lit room, that's fine, it works just fine. If it's light outside, you know, hopefully you're not waving your gun around outside, but easily seen in good lighting conditions, you know, something you're not going to see or be able to know at night. So just, you know, just have to know the condition of your weapon, which if you're walking around at night, it should be chambered, in my opinion. We're not going to go any more into that, but let's break it down. So there's 2 ways to break this down. Oh, well, before we get into that, if you know, I think everybody probably knows this, but they come with 2 different magazines. You have a short flush fitting magazine with the 9mm version. There is a 7-round mag, and the 8-round mag has a little finger extension. This is, for me anyway, how my hand fits on it, which is great, feels really good here. I carry it with the short mag to make it even more concealable, and I get 2.5 fingers on the grip, which is just fine. My pinky's not totally hanging off. If I choke up high enough, feels good, really. It feels good. It doesn't bother me at all. I think it's a good grip shape, a good grip size. So real quick before we break it down, how does it compare to my beloved Glock 19? Well, actually, let's see how we can show you this. If I put these guys, especially, this thing is, in terms of grip height, or not just the grip height, of course, but the height from the sights all the way down to the magazine. If I drop an empty Glock magazine in there, I was really surprised, and I learned this at the store 2 years ago when I was first checking it out. I'm like, you know, it's really not that much different than the Glock 19. I'm not sure if you're looking on it there, but if I kind of hold them together the way they were and go edgewise, and they're the same height with the extended magazine on here. So we dropped the extended mag, put the short mag in. Now it's definitely a smaller gun overall. Now it's a little bit shorter in height. You can see lengthwise compared to the Glock 19. I'm putting my finger here against the beaver tails, so you can see there's I haven't measured it. Let's say it's 3/4 of an inch to an inch of overall length difference, so it's quite a bit shorter. And then of course the big thing is its width, and if you look at the width of these things, I believe this is 0.95 inch and the Glock is 1.18, so you're looking at what is that, a 1/4 inch of difference in thickness. And again, like I said before, for me, bulk was secondary, but an important trait in a new carry gun. But weight was even more important for me. Fully loaded, Glock 19, 2 pounds, fully loaded Shield, 1.5 pounds, and we can show you that on my handy dandy scale. So let's just look at the unloaded weights here. The scale zeroed out there. 1 pound, 4.4 ounce compared to 1 pound, 8 ounce. So there's 4 ounces difference right there. But then you got to think, I've got 16 rounds of 147 grain in this one, and only 8 rounds of 147 grain in here. So it is a ½ pound of savings, which is 25%, which is pretty significant. And so far I've been carrying it quite a bit, and it's noticeable. It is noticeable. So let's see, kind of another quick look around here, make sure I didn't forget anything. Let's break it down. So there's a couple different ways to break this down. First of all, magazine is removed. And got to lock it open. Probably should have locked it open with the magazine in it, would have been easier, but this thing's breaking in nicely. So first of all, you got to lock the slide back, and this lever here is kind of stiff, but like I said, I'm kind of getting it broke in. Rotate the lever down, and from here there's 2 ways to get this thing apart, and I'm going to show you the pull the trigger method, and it comes right off. And the second method, and I did that first so I can show you the second method. The second method is to lock it back, rotate the takedown lever, and then reach in here with your punch or a little screwdriver or something and pull that lever down. Now if you see that little lever, it's yellow in color, and this is called the sear disconnect, or sear sear disconnect lever, I think is what it's called, or it disables the sear. And you'll see, this is the sear right here, and you'll see it raise up, and you'll see it drop down. Well, when I throw the lever down, the sear drops down, and it allows the striker to pass by, and along with the entire slide when you're removing the slide. So how does this trigger system work? Well, let's see. I'm getting ahead of myself. What's in the slide here, first of all? So we have a dual captured metal recoil spring assembly. The barrel, it's a 3 or 3.1 inch barrel, short little thing. Removes just like any modern service pistol, just drops right out. And there you go. We're field stripped, ready for cleaning, right? So yeah, so how does this trigger assembly work? I was really curious, and if you're not an M&P guy, you might be curious how it works. So you have your trigger bar right here, and of course there is a firing pin block, and like the Glock, you immediately recognize that right there is your firing pin block lever that presses up on it. So it is a plunger in the slide, like I said, like a Glock. So this comes back, pushes the plunger up. The plunger is located right here. You can see that. Get some light on there. That's your plunger. And that pushes, that allows the firing pin, the striker, to pass by. So if I line these up, you will see, it's kind of hard to tell, but when it, so the, when the slide cycles and the sear is in the up position, see if you can see that. You see the sear's in the up position. There is your striker, the tang or the leg of your striker hanging down there. It catches on the back of the sear, and pulling the trigger, let's see if we can get that, drops the sear. Now notice it just drops the sear. So my immediate thought was, what the heck, this is a single action gun. There's one action. We're just tripping the sear and letting the firing pin pass by, and you know, let the striker slips off and fires the round. So I did some research, and I don't remember what the source was or how official the source was, but apparently Smith & Wesson says that the striker is 98% cocked, and when you pull the trigger, it cocks it the other 2%, and that is how they claim this to be a double action gun. I would kind of scoff at that, but that's what they claim, so that's what I'm reporting to you. And I did some more research, and I want to pan up here to my my backboard. I'm going to do a little sketch, and I'm going to show you why this is what it is, or what they say it is. So check this out. I'm going to pan up to my board here. Here's a little diagram I'm going to sketch out for you to show you how this works. So you've got your sear, and it's, I'm exaggerating, it's angled up like that, and your striker has a leg on it that goes up here, and I'll just draw a little arrow on it. There's the tip of your striker. So you got your sear up here holding this thing back, and this is under spring. There's this spring tension there, ready to fire that thing as soon as that sear moves out of the way. So, and like I said, pulling the trigger levels out the sear, so the sear would be here, so that this guy can pass by, right? So how does Smith & Wesson claim that this is a double action gun, not a single action gun? And here's what I found out. If you look at the sear from the side or in cross section, what it actually looks like is this. This is supposed to be a smooth top edge. It's got a little duckbill to it. And then it's like that. And the pivot point is here somewhere in the center. So because it has this little tail to it, this little duck tail, when it rotates out of the way, when it rotates down, you're technically getting longer from here to here. This line's longer than this line, so you're technically pulling the striker back just a hair, and I mean it's got to be just a hair. So that's how they get away with calling that a double action gun. Now, does it matter? No, it doesn't matter. The trigger pull is, I don't know what the trigger pull is. It goes bigger than my gauge, which is more than 6 pounds. So I don't know, it's probably a 6.5 pound, maybe it's 7 pounds. I don't know. It feels very Glock-like. You know, it's not a single action trigger in terms of a 1911, where you have just a teeny tiny amount of sear hanging onto that hammer hook. I don't need to draw that, but anyway, so if you guys know what I'm talking about, this is not that. This is not a 1911 without a thumb safety. It's a safe gun. It's got a decent trigger pull to it. You're not going to accidentally pull that trigger unless you mean to. So I just wanted to illustrate that that little, what I would just kind of call a ducktail. It's not a square corner. Now, interestingly enough, if you buy yourself an Apex kit, if you buy yourself a kit from Apex, and it's hard to draw a straight line when I'm up here on the wall, but if you buy an Apex kit, from what I've seen, their sear has a square corner on it, and I would call that 100% single action gun myself. So anyway, little detail information for you that you don't get on other channels. That little sketch, you know, forgive me for my artistry, but that little sketch shows you how it works. So what else have we got here? So like I said, I'm going to get you really up close here. Take a look at that sear. That is how it works. So you got the tang of your striker hanging on the back of there. Pull the trigger, drops it away, lets it pass by. Look at it here from the other side. You can see the trigger bar, and there's a little loop of metal there that goes up underneath and just lifts up on that thing and cams it up out of the way. Some other interesting things to note. The back end here, I don't know what they call it because I'm not a Smith & Wesson guy. Let's call it the sear housing. That's what it looks like to me. It's held in place by a single pin. It is a roll pin, and you should have a special you should use a special punch to get this roll pin out. There's a special punch that has a little dimple on the end that goes inside the roll pin to keep its shape so it doesn't deform it. So from what I understand, I've not taken this apart yet myself, but from what I understand, you drive that roll pin out and this whole sear assembly comes out. The rails, this is all metal. Everything my screwdriver here is touching is all metal, all over here. So the rails are a bit beefier than a Glock, which are set into the plastic frame. Sorry, I keep wandering off here. The locking block up front, again, this is all metal. The locking block and the rails are all one piece. This is all metal. It's pretty thick. I think it's pretty thick metal, I would say. And that all comes out with this roll pin. You pop that roll pin and you're home free. This thing, the takedown lever simply rotates up to that position and you can wiggle it out. I have done that and I'm not going to do it now. And then that is your trigger pin. So that's kind of the innards of this thing. You can see how you see the takedown lever. It's flat on one side and it's round on the other, and there's a better angle for you. And so basically when you got the gun together and you have your recoil assembly sitting in there, that is right up against the flat side of your takedown lever. And when you throw the takedown lever, notice it has to push the spring forward. So that's the tension you feel, is you're actually compressing the spring against the front end of the slide. And like I said, it was very stiff at first. It's kind of working itself out since I've had this gun for I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks. So that's how that works there. So put it back together. I think we're ready to put it back together. Very simple. Drop in your barrel, drop in your captured recoil spring assembly. And actually, before I do, oh, I remember what else I was going to show you. Let's get that out of there. How's the thing reset? I was going to show you guys, how does this thing reset? So check out in your slide, right here down the middle, there's this little cam right here. And so what does that do? When the trigger bar is pulled, like so, that cam comes along, immediately your slide cycles, right? So I got the trigger, I pull the trigger, bang, the slide cycles very rapidly, and that cam pushes this guy over. Show you that again from the top. So you got your trigger bar right here. This piece right here goes underneath and lifts up on the leading edge, which drops the back end of your sear, and then that cam in the slide pushes over, which takes it out from underneath the sear. The spring underneath here lifts it back up, and then your reset, that's the click you hear when you reset the gun. Again, that cam in the slide comes by, bumps this over, bumps your trigger bar over, and then when you release the trigger, that's the click you hear for your reset. That's all it is. So back to reassembly. So when you put your recoil assembly in there, the head of this thing sits in here just like so. And I would say one of my complaints is that there's not a real clear recess. There's a flat spot, yeah, there's a little flat shelf there where the recoil assembly sits. Try to give this different angles so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. There's a flat shelf there, but there's not a round this way, a round recess that tells me that I've got it centered up. So that's kind of one thing that kind of bugs me, but honestly it's not, it hasn't caused any problems. You just kind of pop it in there and it kind of naturally drops in. And I think that when you reassemble it onto the frame and it goes through this piece right here, I don't know what you want to call that, but when it goes through this metal kind of half ring there, I think that probably gets it centered up if it's not centered up already. So not a big deal. You know, it seems like there should be a more positive way of knowing it's in the right spot, but not a big deal. It works just fine. So sorry, we got to drop our lever down there. So to reassemble, you got to bring it back together, make sure your ejector is lined up right with the holes in the back of the slide. Lock it back, snap that up in the up position, and release the slide, and you're good to go. The slide release, well, let's call it the slide stop. It's not really a slide release, not meant to be a slide release. It is very stiff, and maybe this is it's just new to me. Having a 3-inch barrel auto loader, I'm new to that world, so this dual recoil spring is a new thing for me, and I think maybe they're all pretty stiff, but that thing has got so much power, you have to really, really mean it pressing that thing down to get the slide to slam back home. I would not train that way. I would slingshot this gun if it was locked open after emptying a magazine with it. So anyway, that is a my tour anyway of the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield. General notes about how the M&P line works and how it functions and how that sear functions. Like I said, it's all new to me, and if you guys are not familiar with this line of pistol, maybe that's new to you as well. I want to show you the rig I've been carrying this in. This is a Concealment Solutions Sidewinder outside the waistband holster. I'm definitely an outside the waistband holster guy. I've tried a couple of IWBs, and with the right pants, you know, with enough room inside the waistband and everything, it can work. I know a lot of people absolutely prefer that. It just kind of doesn't work for me. I have carried a couple of times in the what seems to be a very well made holster from DC Holsters. We had them on the show. We showed the holster off on the show with Rob and Taylor. It's a well-made holster. It's just kind of, I'm not an IWB guy. It doesn't really work for me. So I looked all over, you know, here I got a new gun. Got to have a new holster. So I looked kind of all over the internet, and I knew about these guys. And so I pulled their page up, and I pulled up lots of other pages looking to see what else was out there, looking at pricing, looking at construction, looking at, you know, the ride height. You can tell just kind of where the belt loops are. This ride's pretty high. You know, it's a small gun anyway, so it doesn't need to be too far down. Riding high doesn't mean it's top heavy or anything like that. But I decided on the Concealment Solutions for mainly for comfort. I do like leather. Leather is more comfortable. I like the hybrid design. You've got a Kydex shell. I have not measured it. It's pretty thin. I think it's 060 Kydex. It might be 080. I forget what the measurements are, but there's a I think it's a 6. It's pretty thin Kydex, as you can see. And as you can see, I've been wearing it. It's kind of well broken in. This thing was completely flat when I got it. And here's what the gun looks like in the holster. That's how it would ride. And I like it. I like it a lot. Like I say, it's comfortable. The belt loops are spaced wide enough that, you know, I like to put one of my pants belt loops somewhere between the holster belt loops, so I can get it on my belt, and then, you know, I can adjust it forward, I can adjust it backwards, kind of wherever I like for that moment. Like if I'm driving, kind of slide it forward. When I'm back out of the car, kind of slide it back a little bit. Works good for me. That's how I do it anyway. If I had any complaints at all, there's 2 complaints I could say about not just this holster, but leather holsters in general. They squeak a little bit, and I've kind of pinpointed the source of the squeak or the creak to the belt loops. Where it rubs on my belt, it can creak and squeak just a bit. So in a quiet office environment, you just kind of have to watch yourself how you bend and twist around, because that thing a little bit like that. Second complaint, and again, that's not just a Concealment Solutions complaint, but any hybrid holster, you have a soft back, you have a hard shell and a soft back. So reholstering is not real slick. It's not just like throw the gun into the bucket, kind of like my race holsters and my competition holsters. This thing, you have to fish around for it a bit because it has a leather back. It's gonna pull and close up a bit on you. So that's just the nature of a hybrid holster in general. It's like I say, it's not a fault of Concealment Solutions specifically, but any hybrid holster is going to have that issue. In competition, reholstering is not done on the clock, and never been in a gunfight, but on the street, I think you shouldn't be in a hurry to reholster anyway. So not a big deal. Not really a big deal at all. This is 6 rivets in the construction. Very well done. And full disclosure, I paid full price for this. So Concealment Solutions is not a sponsor. It's just something that I thought I would like, and so far it's working out really good. So thanks for watching this week. Hope you enjoyed my review of the Smith Wesson M&P Shield. Like I said, it's my first foray into the M&P line. Might be my last. I really do like my Glocks for competition, and well, mainly for competition. I would say general target shooting, but I'd shoot this all day, general target shooting too. It's a hoot. It's a lot of fun. It's a good little gun. Very pleased with it, and I don't know what else to say about it. Before we close, trivia question this week, and here it is. Real simple. USPSA question. What are the 3 scoring methods in USPSA? I don't know how else I could say that question, and I don't want to say anything else to give you any kind of hints. If you pull out your rule book and you look up scoring methods, you'll find 3 different scoring methods for USPSA. Let us know what those are. Send your answers to our email address at powerfactorshow@gmail.com. Also, before I close, we don't do this enough. I just want to say thanks to all our sponsors. Sure, we put their banners up at the beginning of our show, but I just want to do a kind of on-air live thank you to all of our sponsors. If you guys are reloading, check out Rainier Ballistics plated bullets. I like them a lot. Hodgdon powder, if you can find some right now in fall of 2014, if you can find it, get your hands on it, just grab it. Don't care what the price is. It's hard to get any kind of powder right now, but thanks to Hodgdon Powder and Taylor Freelance, JPL Precision. They're not a sponsor, but maybe could have, should have been, would have been. K-Rounds Holsters, check them out. They make some nice stuff. Again, not a sponsor, but I like it. Concealment Solutions. They do sponsor other podcasts and have been featured on other podcasts before. That's how I learned about them. I like the one I got anyway, so it works good for me. If you have any other questions, send us some suggestions for future episodes. It would be very helpful. And otherwise, I don't know, check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/powerfactorshow. Our website, powerfactorshow.com. In there you can search for any kind of topic, any kind of keyword search, and if you want to look up IDPA, do that. If you want to look up reloading, you want to look up shotguns, whatever. From our website, it's very easy to do, to search our topics and find exactly what it is you're looking for. Thanks a lot for watching. See you next week.